Welcome back, everybody. This is the 5th long shot, I believe. We tried recording this in Lunenburg. We set up, we just got a new tripod. Do you want to point out the tripod? We just got that, so we fucking...
Oh, I missed it.
All good. We set up in Lunenburg. Took us all day to get there. We set it up. We record for like what felt like at least an hour. Come back with the footage. It's out of focus. It's fucked. Camera 2 was also being used to like do like silly zoom-ins like this. So we're gonna try this again. And this time it's gonna be a lot better. For this long shot, I wanted to talk about socializing. That big, scary thing that you probably suck at. Or maybe you don't suck at it. Maybe people who watch our videos aren't like completely retarded. That would be nice. Leave a comment if you know how to read social cues. Let's get serious. Firstly, I just wanted to go over how I learned to get better at socializing. So I used to be like fucking really bad at just talking to people. I was so bad at it. I was like embarrassingly shy and shelled, and it's actually so cringe. It was like painful to be around me. Sorry to anybody who knew me back then. I just wanted to go over some of the things that I picked up on, or I tried getting better at, or I learned to essentially get over that big fear of like just being around other people and trying to say anything. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, honestly even like my early teens, being like really young, I was still really bad at like talking at all. I was very quiet. I had a really hard time with interjecting in a conversation. So a lot of the times people would be in a group, they'd be hanging out, talking or whatever, and most of the time I'd be in the background, just there, but not really adding much to it. Something that helped me personally get over like my social anxiety in general was, I remember watching Brody TV. That was honestly a huge one for me. Brody TV, watching him just go around and fuck with people and hearing him talk about like how for the most part there isn't really any repercussion and or nothing really bad happens if you are trying to interject or socialize with people and you like fuck up. It's a lot harder to interject in conversations with like longer strings of conversation. So something I was doing was basically just interjecting with like one-liners or bits. That's a really good way to break the ice into getting better at socializing in general, I'd say. The risk is a lot smaller if your joke falls than if you're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna take the reins on this conversation and try to lead it, and then you end up sounding like retarded. Another thing that helped me a lot in getting better at socializing was the homie Tyler. You want to point the camera at yourself? This guy right here. But having someone who is more outgoing, having an extroverted friend, for me that was Tyler, to kind of riff with, go back and forth, and just talk bullshit with, was like honestly instrumental in me getting over my social anxieties and getting better at not just like making points, but just like conversating in general. Is it conversating? Conversing. Just conversing in general. Those are really good like grinding stones to practice socializing. I'm seeing so many floaters right now. Am I getting like cataracts? What the fuck is this? I'm literally getting snow blindness right now. Fucking my cataracts are acting up and it's pissing me off. Okay, I'm just gonna close my eyes. Being in my early 20s, late teens, I was still trying to figure out who I was as a person, not just in social settings, but just in general, I'd say. Something that helped me personally was the Myers-Briggs test was one of them. The Enneagrams is another one. There's the Big 5 personality model, that's another one. But finding those, when I was essentially lost, was like very helpful. It gave me something to resonate with, because I'd be like, oh dude, I am that kind of guy. I am an INFP. I am 4-wing-5 on the Enneagram. I am high in openness and neuroticism. Wow, that's me. There's something to attach to. Oh, it's like you're fucking drowning and there's like a safety vest you could like cling on to. The thing with personality type models is once you see that and you resonate with it and you take it to heart, you could tend to fall into this like weird pattern of like, oh, I am this personality type, thus I can't stray out of it because that wouldn't make sense. Or it's the equivalent of like astrology girls when they're like, I'm a Pisces, I like taking baths. I couldn't think of another example. You attach yourself to these models and you don't want to stray away from them because they were your saving grace at one point and you resonate with them. So straying away from that is like it's like straying away from who you think you are at the moment. The same concept applies to people who are like, I'm not an asshole, I just say it the way it is. Like those kinds of guys. Yeah, dude. Dude, I just tell you how it is, man. What? I don't have a filter. I'm just honest. That's another thing. That's the perfect example. I just thought of the perfect example. Dude, people who are like, I'm an introvert, I don't like to socialize, I get anxious all the time, and they make that their whole personality. Like, dude, that's so fucking cringe. Same thing with like, it kind of applies to extroverts too. They're like, dude, I'm just an outgoing guy. I say it how it is. But you don't have to be like socially inept. You're like, oh, this person likes rock music. I fucking hate rock music. I'm not gonna contribute or add anything. That's what a lot of you guys are doing. It's not hard to be like, okay, you like rock music? That's awesome. What do you like about it? Or some fucking stupid shit. My dad listens to Metallica. It's that simple. Just to like add something. The whole name of the game is just like easing people's social stress. Everybody to some extent is like somewhat socially stressed out. I feel like they have to perform to some degree. The worst type of person to hang out with is when you're in a group and you're hanging out with someone who's so visibly uncomfortable that you like notice it. You're so unskilled at essentially hanging out that you're making it worse for other people. That used to be me, so yes, I am projecting. It's fucking retarded, so don't do that. Can I get another cigarette? I got it. Oh fuck, no! The next thing is friends and your social needs, because obviously there's the wrong advice of like cut off all your friends and start getting on your Sigma grind set. Not a good option. I think a lot of people have this issue of they make their friends a huge part of their lives. I'm not saying that like a psychopath where it's like, dude, you don't need anybody. I'm not saying that. I think people spend way too much time like hanging out and being chummy. A lot of people keep others around who are essentially drains on you because they're bored. I think if you're bored and you don't really have a plan, you don't really have purpose or direction in your life, you're much more open to taking in people who aren't really gonna benefit you, and not just in a transactional way, but people who are gonna benefit you in the sense of like bettering you as a person. I think it's really hard to find people who are willing to call you out on your bullshit, who are actively willing to either teach or help you with like learning things. That's really rare. I honestly feel like if you have purpose and direction, you're less likely to interact with garbage people because you don't really have time for fucking dumb bullshit all the time. And that's gonna improve your life fucking 10, 20, 30 fold, 100 fold even, 100 fold. That's your life's gonna be so much better now. You need friends. And I understand, maybe like some of your friends are dog shit, but like you don't have anything else. I understand that as well. Like, and that's a rough spot to be in. But you need to focus on at least trying to find a balance. Because people, I've heard this too many times. I'm trying to tie it in together. Like, life isn't about work. Life isn't about materialism. So many people use the excuse of like materialism is bad to not fucking achieve anything in their lives. And that's fucking frustrating. Before we came down here to record, I thought about that and it just it pissed me off. So saying materialism is bad or not the goal is the equivalent of saying during the trolley experiment, there's one guy on one side and 5 bad guys on the other. So I would kill the 5 bad guys. That's the level of insight saying materialism isn't the end goal brings. It's not some fucking profound philosophical theory. Yeah, no shit. You don't want to be a Scrooge McDuck. Everybody knows that. God, I hate when people like use the excuse of like, I'm anti-materialistic, and they just use that to like fuck around and not like do anything with their lives. That pisses me off, so don't do that. I kind of touched on it earlier with like cutting people out of your lives. A lot of people have trouble with cutting people out because they're really bad at dealing with conflict. And that's something you should also learn to deal with or get better at. Conflict is inherent. You're not gonna avoid it. So not learning how to deal with it is gonna put you at a disadvantage, be it in personal relationships, be it with relationships with your friends or whatever you wanna call it. Not being able to deal with conflict is really bad. Not being able to bring up issues, not being able to resolve issues because you're too scared to like upset the other person. You don't owe anybody shit. You don't owe people a fucking essay on how they made you feel and why you believe it's best to part ways or whatever. A lot of the time you could just cut people off and they're just gonna move on and you're just gonna move on and that's it. Just move on with your life. Most people can like cut out a decent amount of people from their friend circle because most of them don't contribute much and you're only keeping them around you because you're bored. And the reason you're bored is because you don't know what you're doing, you have no purpose, so you're walking around aimlessly, and to fill in the time, because now you're bored, you're hanging out with retarded people who are just gonna bring you down with them. Get better at curating your friend group. I think that's like the main thing, is learning how to curate people. So understanding who's actually worth keeping around. Not necessarily how do they help you in a transactional sense, but do they actually contribute anything aside from just entertainment? Because yeah, most people are only friends with people because they need some form of entertainment. But if you could find people who are actually willing to help you out, those people are worth keeping around. Yeah, that was Longshot. Hopefully the camera's in focus this time. We have a second camera. I'm sure that's gonna make it look so much better. Thank you, Tyler, for recording that. Yeah, subscribe to the Patreon, please. I'm gonna make a tutorial soon, I promise. I know I'll keep putting it off. Anybody who's watching who's made it this far, I don't know how long the video is, thank you. To the patrons, thank you guys, really appreciate it. Longshot, episode 5. Was that good? I bet it was. Shout out. Shit, man. And I said, socializing? What the fuck that even mean? Fuck you, dude.